Here we are. Boys, this is it. EP 10. Off-season looms for all. I'm just wrapping up things here. Dirty Docker is done. Southern, you were done?
Yeah, last race was Saturday. So into my off-season, which was basically Sunday, and now working on next year. It was awesome. It was really good. I had a really good day Sunday. That's it now. I flew home. It's great.
Turbo?
Yeah, I'm about 12 kilos in. No, 12 days.
I think you're going to say 12 beers deep.
As we said, Turbo, you do look deep into the off-season. It's the most relaxed and comfortable I've seen you all year.
Thanks, mate. Am I just constantly just on edge, just at any moment? I'm having a cup of tea currently. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I've done nothing so far, and it's good. I ran 25k last week though, so I'm really good.
Nice. So Turbo, fill people in on your off-season theory, which I'm not shit canning it. I like the theory. It was 1 hour of exercise a day, isn't it?
Yep.
And it can be anything. It can be playing tennis, can be playing wall ball, can be running, whatever you feel like. As long as you do 1 hour of exercise a day.
That's it. And it's not necessarily I would exercise anyway. I need to get that sort of detox or, get it out of your mind or just do something. I'm a bit agitated if I don't do anything. So yeah, I just allocate 1 hour a day for a month. And then it turns into sort of 6 to 7 hours a day for the Nationals.
In case you're tuning in for the first time, guys, this is the Race Communiqué, the Life in the Peloton podcast production made possible by our partner, MAAP, of course. But the Race Communiqué is exclusively being brought to you by the Escape Collective. And boys, previously, we've spoken about it before, BikeGrid. Now, it's previously only been current riders, which it gets a bit tricky and not quite as fun. But what they've gone and done is they've gone back and got a bit more historic riders right back to 2001. It makes the game easier to play. It's still pretty hard to master, but it just gives it a bit more bigger variety of more characters. They're working on it to try and get the database back to 1980. Which I'm looking really forward to. That's going to be in the next update. Head across to bikegrid.escapecollective.com and check it out. The new and improved version. I'm sure everyone knows about it already or has had a little tinker. I'm going to go back and get back involved again because it's been a few weeks since I've played, maybe even a few months. So
that's the one feature I thought was missing, going back a little bit. Because it's where your sort of expertise is. I was I wish you could pick so-and-so. So that'd be cool.
I reckon you need to have some sort of AI that as soon as you open Pro Cycling Stats, the game shuts down. As soon as you open up another tab, it knows that Pro Cycling Stats has been opened, so all of a sudden BikeGrid is cancelled for the day. And you're just oh, mate, you try to cheat, you're done. You ruined it for everyone.
I mentioned at the top of the episode, the Dirty Docker. It's gravel season all around the world because you're coming in the Northern Hemisphere, you're coming into autumn, which is prime gravel time. Here, we're coming into spring. So we launched the Dirty Docker on the weekend. I'm pretty buggered, dusty, everything. But the Escape Collective, way back in the day, were one of the first to get involved in the event system, the gravel world. They founded the Giro della Donna, and it's coming up on the weekend of November 23rd, 24th with gravel and road now. They've got a road race. They've even got a criterium, I think, this year in the new location of Marysville. I was out at Marysville last year for Chrissy. Bloody awesome out there.
Where is Marysville?
It's right out. You go out to Healesville, you keep going over the Black Spur, and then you drop down to Marysville. It's on the bottom of Lake Mountain. You can also do the Cascades mountain bike trail. I did it when I was out there. I think it's a 2-hour run down. It's epic. Heaps of good stuff out there.
Wow.
They've shifted it. It used to be in Warby, and they've shifted it over to Marysville. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, nice. That should be a good one. I think I did the gravel one back in 2018. Rained all day. Bit grim, but yeah.
November's a better date for it.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm going to hit it up. I hit you boys yesterday with this idea that seeing as it's the last episode, the season's practically done. We've got Gongxi left. Am I right in saying that in terms of World Tour stuff? There's probably a couple other little Italian races around, but it's more or less done and dusted now.
Japan Cup or something like that as well.
Yeah, Japan Cup. And I thought we'd use this episode. Of course, we're going to talk about Lombardia, which was on the weekend, but I thought we could do it as a bit of a review, talk about how the season went, and some highs and lows from different riders and different things as well. You happy with that, boys?
Sounds good to me.
Just nodding won't work on an audio podcast.
We both nodded and then realised we had to actually acknowledge what you said. Anyway, it's fine. We just need the YouTube channel up and running for next year, you know?
That's the plan. That's a little insight. And Durbo, more gear for you to carry, which I know you love doing to races. We're going to get one of those big boppers, as Jonesy calls it, that the Channel 7 use.
The big, yeah, exactly. Big headpiece, maybe even a booth. Honestly, I think the Lepelbed would actually, the hotel we stay at, I'm sure they'll be all about that. As long as you put Bart on one of the episodes, I think we'll be able to do it.
Well, I'm going to go right back to the start, chronologically run through this season, and it starts with Stevie Williams kicking things off at TDU and taking somewhat of a surprise victory there. My man, exactly. When we got to Europe, Visma Lease a Bike were going with guns blazing in the early spring races, seeing Jan Traknik, again, a bit of a surprise winner, taking out Umlaut Het Nieuwsblad. Hard to even think way back to then. And in Paris-Nice and Torino Adriatico, Vingegaard took out Torino and Jorgensen took out Paris-Nice. So Visma were firing early season. But wedged in between all that, Tadej Pogačar opened up his account with Strade Bianche, taking that amazing solo victory. Boys, remember the early season? Any comments?
I was just thinking then, it's like, how strong did Visma start?
Yeah.
I mean, I know things went bad with a crash, but like you look at that, like imagine on paper, you're like, yep, we won all the Grand Tours last year. We just taken out Tirreno and Paris-Nice.
And opening weekend, like both opening weekend races. So you're just sort of thinking like classics are looking good, stage races are looking good. Okay, UAE got no chance. And then, yeah, things changed.
Let's get into the classics. So it was all about Alpecin de Koenig here because Philipsen took at San Remo and De Panne. He won there. You had Van der Poel winning E3 in Flanders. And Jorgensen took a chance and grabbed Warragam all in between that to show he's still a very handy classics rider as well. I've missed a few other things there, but we can't go through everything. But during stage 4 was a really important point here of the Tour of the Basque Country with 30k to go. On a right-hand corner on the descent, we saw riders skidding off on the corner into a concrete ditch. Initially didn't look crazy, but then when they zoomed in, I've just recently rewatched this again just to remind myself, all the GC Tour de France contenders practically, Jonas Vingegaard, Primož Roglic, Remco Evenepoel, all suffering major injuries as well as some other riders, and they were all transported to hospital. The race was neutralised, and we all know the roll-on effect from that. Just after that, we rolled into the Ardennes Classics, and Pidcock grabbed Amstel. My man, Stevie Williams, takes the victory on the cold, wet Flesh-Wallone finish, and Tadej gets the big one. Liège for the second time round to sort of round out the classic season, boys. Any other comments there?
I was thinking back to that crash. It's like, I remember, because the big news was basically Pogačar was doing the Giro and the Tour was kind of this afterthought. And I really think that crash was like, all right, now we change everything, go for the double, which then led to the triple, right? Which we now all know. It was, massively unfortunate, scary, horrible thing, but like it totally transformed the season. It's easy to forget under Pogačar's dominance now how much of a role that's going to have played.
I reckon also the other crash was the Dwars door Vlaanderen one where you took down Pedersen, you took down Van Aert, you took down Girmay, and not saying that Van der Poel was not going to win Flanders and Roubaix, but that pretty much just sealed the deal for him as well in sort of a Pogačar way that there was no one. Pedersen was coming into, he would just won Gent-Wevelgem and put Van der Poel away in Gent-Wevelgem. Those two came to the line and he put him away in the sprint. So you're thinking, oh, this is looking pretty good. And then all of a sudden the competition was eliminated in that big Dwars door Vlaanderen crash and changed the effect of the last two races for the Flemish Classics. So yeah, just those crashes in the Basque one and the Dwars door would probably affected the 1 week stage races and the Grand Tours, and then also affected the Classics. So it was sort of around 2 crashes.
I forgot about Roubaix, actually. That was a good mention to. I don't know how I forgot about that. Shame on me. On to the first Grand Tour, the Giro, and after Jonathan Navarez won the first stage, Pogačar took the stage and the jersey on the second stage, and pretty much that was that. It was majorly a battle for the minor places. Pog went on to win 5 more stages after that and the GC. Danny Martinez was 9 minutes behind in second and Geraint Thomas 10 minutes behind in third. So it was, if you guys remember back to that, it was sort of weird because it was exciting watching the battle for second. You're like, cool, he's gone. right, let's just watch who's going to get the best of the rest. It was really so different, wasn't it?
I just remember being locked into our fantasy league, to be honest, boys. I think that was the big thing for me. That my lasting memory of the Giro was like really trying to work that fantasy league. I think you ended up on top, didn't you, Durbo?
His sister.
My sister, no, that was the Tour. She dominated the Tour.
Ah, yeah.
She nearly won the Factor at the Tour. But there was the revelation from the Giro from memory was the guy from your team, the guy who was a worker. Remember, and then he come and he's won one stage. What was his name?
The German.
Steinhauser.
Steinhauser. That was a big talking point post Giro, other than Pogacar. How did his season end up in the end after that?
He's just been racing in Italy with us. I mean, he's sort of solid, but not no kind of highlights like that. But I feel like he's been a talented guy for a long time. We've had him kind of going, and that was like he's been there at the Tour of the Alps before in the top sort of 3 on stages, but like to then go and confirm it with the Giro stage was. I mean, I think he's going to have a big career. So step by step, at that age.
Then we had the Tour de France build up with Dauphiné and Tour Suisse, both awesome races this year. They always are, but I think particularly this year, very exciting. And Pog went into hiding and prepared up at altitude. Roglic almost dropped the ball in the final stage of Dauphiné, but he held on to win against a fast-finishing Matteo Jorgensen. And in Swiss, it was a total dominance by UAE, where Yates and Almeida were battling it out for the win. And it was a good sign for UAE heading into the Tour. On to the Tour. Well, it was all the talk, as we spoke about before. Could Jonas get back from his crash after the Basque Country? What sort of form was Roglic and Remco going to be, also coming back from injuries from the Basque Country crash? And was Tadej going to do the Tour Giro double for the first time since 1998 when Pantani did it? Starting in Italy, it was on. It was crazy down there, as you guys remember. And Pogacar attacked in stage 2 over the San Luca climb, and Vingegaard followed. So it was like, whoa, okay. Here we go. Pog went into yellow on that day, but a few days later he lost it to Carapaz, but then took it back over the top of the Galibier when he did a solo attack, and it all sort of looked like, oh, here we go. It's back onto the Giro again. But stage 11 into Lorient, there in France, when Jonas struck back and Pog was looking very much on the back foot. I don't know if you guys remember this, but he wasn't looking great. He sort of hung a fire, he attacked. Jonas caught him and then sort of dropped him in that final sprint. And the race was sort of back on again. But pretty much from there on, Pogacar just kept proving too strong every other day, winning another 5 stages from there and continually putting time in every day and to the rest of the GC contenders, which ultimately saw them scrambling for minor places as they time trialled around Nice at the finish. Pogacar obviously winning, Vingegaard's second at 6 minutes, and Evenepoel third, 9 minutes behind. Pretty good tour this year, though. I enjoyed being over there. Durbo, did you enjoy riding it?
Yeah. We won a stage, so that was great. But yeah, I think I spoke to Mrs. and she sort of said, I'm sort of sick of saying this is the hardest tour stage I've ever done. Pretty much said that for 21 days straight. They all just got harder and harder. And I was like, hardest day of my life, my career. So it was pretty difficult. Exciting to see the double to be done, actually. It was nice to be a part of the race. This is what sometimes you're in the race, but you're a bit of a spectator as well, because you're going, well, what Pogacar's doing this year, I was there for quite a lot of the results that he got, and you're sort of thinking, wow, this is a race in that era. It's a bit like that, It's like, I was there when, Merckx won this. It's like, I was there when Poggy did the double. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, on to the Olympics. And it was all about Remco. He did the double, the road race and the TT. Not much more to be said there, really. And then quickly, pretty much it was time for the last Grandy of the year, the Vuelta. It sort of came up quite quick with the Olympics slotted in between there. After crashing out of the Tour, Primož Roglic was once again left saving his season with the Vuelta. But just as things were looking to plan, they didn't plan on Ben O'Connor and his long-range attack. I think stage 6, where he put 6 minutes 30 gap when he crossed the line into the rest of the GC contenders. He was a bit behind, so he ended up at the end of the day in the red jersey by 5 minutes. And it took until stage 18 before Roglic could get the leader jersey back and win the Vuelta for the 4th time. Couple of incredible things there. It was super exciting. I was commentating that day that Ben went away. He was riding like they were chasing. There wasn't no gift or anything like that. Ben was on a mission that day, and he was up and down the whole Vuelta with heat and different things. But it was exciting. It always proves to be so exciting, that race. No mean feat, Roglic winning that 4 times. I think that gets overlooked in a way. Everyone sort of forgets that he's won that race 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on then.
I would say that I would just say that it was nice to watch the race without Pog in it. We were watching the Vuelta, and it was like Roglic was like doing like almost like normal stuff to get the time back. He'd just really try and get a couple of seconds here, a couple of seconds there, keep going, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, and just eventually he got it back. But it was a really exciting race. Ben had an amazing season, but an amazing Vuelta there, and pretty cool to see.
Let's wrap it up now, the end of the season. And Mark Hershey, he was having a massive back end of the season with 7 wins in 8 races he'd started. It was ridiculous. And Michael Matthews, again, victorious over in Canada with Quebec. He's won that, I think, 2 times or 3 times now. But 3 times, Turbo signalling me. All eyes were on Pog, though, because he was trying to claim the Grand Slam, Giro Tour and Worlds. And he'd won his lead-up race in Montreal after missing the Olympics and the Vuelta post-Tour de France. And then we hit the World Championships. Evenepoel did the double, TT, Olympics and Worlds, and he was keen to do the double-double, and he was looking pretty good for the double-double. Belgium were looking good in the road with the road race, but with 100k to go, just around the corner at the end of the race, Pog seemingly spontaneously attacked over when Belgie just sort of accelerated and strung the bunch out a bit. And he's like, all right, I might just go. And he actually says this. It wasn't really a plan. Even though Traknik sort of somehow got information across with no radios, he waited for him, brought him across.
You know, I heard the story about that. So the UCI motorbike told Traknik. So he was in the break and he just said, he goes, just went to Traknik, he said, Poggy's coming. And Traknik just pulled on the brakes.
Love that.
I love that. Just like the guy's just like, he probably wanted to know. Maybe I should just tell him. Like this guy from the UC.
Well, we discussed pretty much this last time, so we can run through it really quickly. But he went across through that break. Sivakov, the only man who could follow, actually his trade team teammate. They rolled together for a few laps before 25k to go. He went for it alone. Behind, it was a man-against-man chase where they were just pretty much smashing over the top of each other to get across to Pogačar. And in the end, Pog got the rainbow jersey, the Grand Slam. Ben O'Connor took the honourable 2nd place, which was pretty cool. And Van Poel took 3rd. On to this weekend, which has just passed. Lombardia, Pogačar in the world bands, Remco in the gold Olympic Games helmet. A really aggressive race with Mohoric fresh off the gravel worlds, really mixing it up. 21 rider got away with a maximum of 4 minutes before UAE started chase. Sivakov setting Pog up, obviously straight off the worlds, their teammate teamwork there. 48k to go, Pog just goes. He wins his 4th Lombardia. Remco just actually really happy with 2nd in his interview. He goes, I'm so happy I got 2nd. Just it was like a win for me. And Ciccone 3rd. I was so surprised to see him 3rd there. So that's sort of the wrap up of the races of the year. Just very, very quickly before we move on, I think we should talk quickly about Lombardia. As we normally do, we normally sort of catch up on the latest races. And Southern, you were there.
Yeah, it's actually where I want to jump in basically with my bit talking tactics for this episode. If you guys are good,
are you rolling me from Pelo chat? Are you just taking my seat?
Put my handlebars just in front of you, Turbo, and just edge you back and just know your place, mate. All right. So, boys, talking tactics, the Pog effect. I know this has popped up a few times in our chat so far, but I was trying to think of the biggest tactical change of the year, or the biggest influence on the races, and it's kind of unavoidable. You got to talk about this guy. I mean, I do a lot of the hilly one-day races and do the Tour de France, so I see him quite a bit.
Do you see him though? You probably wouldn't, because he'd be off the front,
especially when you're car 2.
Let's say let's say I see him quite a bit in terms of I see the riders who come into the bus and say things like, wouldn't it be nice to just go and do a race where he's not here?
And these could also be the ones who are in the bus like before the race has ended.
Yeah. No, this is like guys who are winning races. It's like, so Nielsen won at Piemonte, and like after the race, he was like, yeah, got to be honest, it was quite nice to do a race without Pog there.
A B grade race.
Aside from the tactic of just finding races that he's not doing, what I found interesting was this kind of there was quite a lot of build up before Lombardy because everybody knew the parkour. It actually got changed quite late due to a landslide. So we missed out one of the hardest climb. The Gander was actually cut from the race. It was early on. It was supposed to come after 48K. They removed it and they rerouted up Selvino, which is a much steadier climb, which, probably went more in everybody else's favor, not as opposed to Pog's. But there was a lot of groundswell and there was a lot of people talking about like, okay, what are teams going to do? We know if we get to the bottom of Sormano, 48Ks to go, Pog can ride in from there. It's 15K down, 15K flat, another descent and a quick climb. There was a bit of this groundswell as to like, right, let's start considering putting good, like proper cyclists into the early break. Not just two from a Conti team and another guy. And it did actually eventuate where, Eddie Dunbar was in there. Danny Martinez was in there. The kid Tiberi was in there with Mohoric and Caruso, which is actually on paper. You got Caruso to pull for the climbs, Mohoric the downhills and the flats. And this idea that kind of in a monument, people would start in leg warmers and a long sleeve jersey. And it's like, it's the morning. The race is going to start later. Due basically to Pogacar, people started in skin suits. We did 47Ks in the first hour. And we had done, I think 44 after 2 hours. So the effect is that I'm trying to get at is like the race never stops because people are trying to find a way to beat this guy. There was 9 kilometers total where when he stopped for a piss, that it was easy in 255. I mean, Durbo, you're in it. Mitch, you're watching it. I feel like, firstly, if you've got any great ideas to beat him, that would be very welcome here. But secondly, what do you guys think of just the way that it's, or the notion that it's like one guy that's basically having to change everybody else's tactics?
Does it work though? Like it seems like the racing, the harder it gets, like a longer time it needs to get in the break, it's just suiting him better and better.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. The only way to beat Poggy is to make the race as easy as possible. We were talking about this at the Worlds. If everyone actually got together and just, I don't know, like with the 100K to go, you probably attacked at the World Championships, but everyone actually stayed together and actually...
You're suggesting the whole peloton rolls in one big through and off.
Yeah, continuous line. Nah, it's pretty tricky though. It's pretty much impossible when it comes to doing any hilly classic, because you just lose too many guys and it just goes into a watts per kilo and Poggy wins that battle. So I was talking to Eddie Dunbar at team camp, which was just after Lombardia, and he said... The issue is that once they got to a decent time, like 2.5 minutes, then everyone started doing sitting on. And he's like, we needed to get to the bottom of Shimano with 2 minutes. Then we would have got to the top and potentially would have come across to us. And then we're on the back of him and you're potentially going to ride in with him. He might not drop you because it's either downhill, flat, that little climb to the finish. But Dunbar was trying to get everyone to ride through as fast as possible because you had to have time. You really had to have time at the bottom of the Shimano, and apparently once they got the time, everyone went like, yeah, okay, did a standard breakaway, like I'm going to do less and not pull, and then it dropped down, and before you know it, they got to the Shimano, there wasn't enough time, and Poggy came flying past. So, but yeah, this is someone like Dunbar. He won 2 stages of the Vuelta. He's been top 5 in a Grand Tour, and he's going in the EB. And he's trying to get the whole group to work with him because he knows the only opportunity is to set as much distance between him and Poggy before Poggy goes. So it's crazy, isn't it?
My question is, what are EB riders doing now?
We just get the bottles, maybe, for like first 20 to 30K, and then we just go to the bus and get some snacks.
I love how you've been transitioned to an EB rider. Like, what the hell would I even be now? I'm just like, ride to I'm a neutral zone guy.
My coach is Marco Pinotti, and he was a decent pro, and he sits down and goes, I wouldn't have been professional in this era. I was like, well, you won like 2 stages of the Giro. He said, no chance. My engine, absolutely. I wouldn't have turned pro. No way. I was just like, what, far out.
No, but I believe that because, like, I know your engine. I know from riding with you. I know your numbers, and like, this is like ridiculous. It's just, but I believe it. I do believe that because it's just what I hear from you guys and what I see. It's just out of control.
You have to remember that stage on Plateau de Bay, right?
Mm.
After 10 minutes, quick spontaneous quiz. How many riders do you reckon had finished after 10 minutes after Pog?
I remember this. It was like only
It was like 5 or
three.
something.
Yeah, well, 3 riders, wasn't it?
No. It was 17, but like, so 17 riders. So it's basically at the point where it's like, okay, well, maybe we should start to find a new way to do the time cut. It's like, why don't we do the accumulated time of the first 3? The other thing I was suggesting, which we actually seriously discussed, it's like, I wanted someone that's like, guys, if any of you get second today at Lombardy, I want you to do like a full post up, not like one hand up, like, oh yeah, I'm doing a nice thing. I just want you to go like full double arm salute, really happy.
First
and then people
human.
are like, oh yeah, there's someone in front of you. He's like, yeah, I know, that's fine.
And like, and the other riders actually congratulating him, like, nice, yeah. Teammates on the radio. No, I got second.
Flashing lights, Mark Matteo out the car.
I reckon it's a really good segue into me just rounding out my little segment, but Tom wedging in between all of us, is that a quick 2024, it was the year of Tadej Pogačar. The UCI rankings say that he was first with 11,655 points.
Like he is like, he's got enough points to qualify in the top 18 of the World Tour on his own.
13, wasn't he? I checked, I think. Yeah.
It was one win less than us as a whole team, and he had pretty much all World Tour wins, and we had like 3.
You said it, Durbo.
That's wild.
Second, Remco, he was at 6,000, so almost half the points, just over half. And Jasper Philipsen, he was at 4,000 points in third. Teams UAE had 36,000 points. Second was Visma at 20,000 and Quickstep at 17,000. Now, I thought we could just do a really quick fire questions about the Peloton this year. And I thought we'd just quickly start with, we'll go around. I can start the first one. Well, I'll ask you, Tom. Maybe I'll ask you, Tom, and I'll be last. Best ride of the year. Best ride of the year. Not rider, best ride. One single performance.
I'd probably have to go with the Worlds.
Tadej. Turbo?
Yeah.
I knew someone would do that, so I didn't go that one to be a little bit different. I still can't believe that somehow Cav got the record.
Wow.
Still didn't believe it would happen. And like, he was nearly time cut first stage of the Tour. So many things have to go right to win a sprint stage of the Tour de France, and he just like picked it through with not actually, I would say, the best shape, and he got the record. So
perfect. I'm going back with Ben O'Connor. That ride, stage 6, I love that. It was epic. Most overpaid rider and underperformed of this year, Durbo.
I mean, definitely had some issues, injuries, things like that, but Teo Gegenhardt.
Southern?
I feel bad for sprinters here because it's always going to be a sprinter, but Jakobsen went to DSM, thought he was going to do something. I didn't have a good year.
I'm going with Pidcock, and it's good time coming under fire at the
on
moment.
the bandwagon.
Yeah, why not?
Brutal. He still won Amstel.
Yeah, but he's not a good wicket. It's not even a monument.
Nah.
I'm sort of going to potentially disagree because it just
did win
depends
the
on what he
Olympics
gets
too.
paid for.
Yeah.
He did win the Olympics. He's paid by mountain biker as well, so he's doing quite well as a second-hand road rider.
I'm going to chip in with this one. Best value for money rider. I'm going to go with Oscar Onley, 22-year-old riding for DSM, second-year pro, second GC at Tour of Britain this year. He won a stage at TDU, 16th in the world, and we knew how hard that was. He finished top 60 in the rankings this year. Second-year pro at DSM, you know he's on nothing. And he's done that. He's getting lucky 50 grand.
Yeah, true.
For mine, I don't know how much he gets paid, but I would say your man there, Stevie Williams, what a season. It's kind of, it might get a little bit overlooked, but I mean, the guy won Flesh Wallon. He won Down Under. He won the Tour of Britain, dominating style, and he was just like exceptional rider. That Flesh Wallon was unbelievable. So, yeah, Stevie.
Nice. My man. Like it.
I'm going to go Ben O'Connor. I know he gets paid well, but he's still 5th. I think he was ended up 5th in the UCI rankings. And you look at the guys around him and they are getting paid more. So I think just in terms of, I think AG2R did really well in that situation, and I would say Ben O'Connor was our best value for money.
Yeah, he had an awesome season. Best race of the year.
I'm going to jump in with the gravel stage of the tour. That was awesome. It was a really good stage. Difficult. All this stuff happened. All the favourites got across to the break and then stopped again, and then it's like loads of cool stuff.
That was a good stage, yeah. Good champagne.
Remember that bidding you were handing out? That was
Turbo. Turbo?
I know we're a majority. This is just a bit left field, but I just remember being super emotionally invested in this. Was when the Aussies won the TP at the Olympics.
Nice.
Team pursuit. And it was just against England. It'd been 20 years since we'd won the gold medal. And even you, Mitch, have been a part of that whole team pursuit squad. And it's just a lot of work goes into that. And to see those boys pull it off at the Olympics after so many tries, so many people. And that was just, it was almost like winning the Ashes, because it was like Aussies versus Poms, final laps, 0.6 difference. I don't know. It was just, I've watched it a couple of times.
You're overlooking Scotland and Wales quite heavily there, Durbo. So, and Northern Ireland.
Great Britain.
I don't need to say much about this one because we already know this. The World Championship road race this year was out of control good. So I don't need to go into that. Listen to last month's pod to hear detail. Best and worst kit. Let's start with best kits. I'm going with Alpecin, the remake of Carrera Jeans kit this year. I like that. Turbo?
That's cool. Bora with their new Red Bull stuff.
Nice.
They had the old vintage aeroplane, and the photo shoot with that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Southern?
I'll just go with ours because it is.
Worst kit then?
I'm going to go with Cofidis Tour de France change-out kit, which was just like the worst. It's like exactly the same shit they always come up with. Like they're in our hotel. It's like, have they changed? Yeah, they've got a change-out kit. What is it? It's red and white shit. It's like, oh, great.
How cool is it? You're like, are they wearing it? You're like, we got it on right now. You're like, really? That guy's got it on. You're like, that's the new kit. You're like, no. Turbo?
Kia with a Bianchi. You just, mate, if anyone has a Bianchi, they're just got to go some sort of Celeste kit. It just, the bike looks so bad with every kit. It's just a red kit, like all looks fine, and then the bike. It's just bleh.
I'm going DSM, that random orange stripe down the middle with that blue. It just doesn't work for me. It wasn't really hitting it off. I couldn't really find an unsung hero, so I'm sort of leaving mine blank. Southern?
Polti Kometa.
What's on with us?
Yeah, Polti Kometa.
I was roommate with him at team camp.
He started cycling late. A few years ago, he was still basically had no idea what sports nutrition was. He was riding for a tiny little Italian team, MGKV, whatever it is. Went to Polti Kometa. Did a really good tour of Turkey. He's got a world tour contract at 28 or something like that. Really unusual way to get into the world tour. Totally different from what everybody else is doing. Yeah, bit of an unsung hero for me. Fair play to him.
Nice. Turbo?
Funny you say that, because I literally sat down with him and said, "I'll tell me your story," and he literally ran me through pretty much what you'd said. And he'd retired probably 3 times because he just had to pay his way to Italy, gone back to the UK. Then the guy calls him, "Come back, I've got a team for you. We can give you, a couple of €100. Like, okay, I'll go back. And then he told me about lockdown. He spent 3 months on the top of Mount Etna because he got stuck there because they were doing a training camp. So he just lived, and they ran out of heating because the team wouldn't pay it. So they had to go into the forest and chop down trees so they could, stay warm and shit. It's insane, And I'm like, this guy, I'm like, how old are you? Because he looks about 22 years old. He's really quite young looking. He's like, 28. I'm like, right, this makes a lot of sense. So yeah, looking forward to see what he can do. Yeah, having done all this. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good one. I've unsung hero. I've just gone with it was a bit random, but I always have a lot of time for Eduardo Fini, and he's always a teammate, and he's always doing the best job for all his teammates. And then this year, he got the Euros, and he got 3rd at the World Championships, and it was just like, we all know Fini's this good, but you never get to see it because he's always doing the job. And I guarantee he rocks up to these TTs and the Grand Tours so buckled because he's always done the job. So it's just nice for him to get, that key win and that defines him as one of the world's best time trialists. And he's a great guy, so yeah, good to see that.
I was going to say Niels Pollard, but I was like, well, it's not really unsung. Everyone knew how good he was, but in the same vein as you. Best new talent. Durbo, you want to kick us off?
I had two, but I'm just going to go. This is both early season. I had Del Toro, the guy from UAE. Just
use your other one because I've got season. Del Toro.
All right, and then I got Pithy from the Classics.
Yeah, Pithy was good call.
It was very good.
I'll go next because mine was Del Toro. Exactly what you said. 6th at the Worlds, actually. Won the Down Under in his first race, won a stage. So 3rd on GC. Yeah, Southern.
I go Mark O'Brien, Melbourne to Warrnambool winner.
Unsung. Not new talent. He should be an unsung hero.
New talent, I was going to go Lucas Naruka from our team, who... check him out. He's got a lot of talent. He's just coming up, but he was, I think, 4th in Frankfurt. So super talented rider. He's very young, but yeah.
We've got 2 left. Biggest loss from the Peloton this year, Southern?
I'm going to go with Domenico Pozzovivo.
He's calling it, is he?
He is fun. Well, apparently. But I heard a funny story the other day. Apparently at the Giro, they did this big, they let him roll in across the line first on the first lap of the final circuit or something like that, thinking it was his last race. And he was still going at Lombardy. But I think that this guy is going to still be trying to basically ride top 15 in the Giro post-nuclear war. He's just going to do it forever. The last sort of 5 years, you think, this guy's written off. And you have this big plan with all your riders. And then somehow this guy just comes creaking past you lopsided in 53.11, ends up 15th.
In the crosswind.
Yeah. Somehow he does it. So fair play to him.
Turbo?
Just quick shout out to good friend, retired Lawson Craddock. He's calling it. So, for me personally, good friend. You guys all know him as well. So, yeah, bit of a well done on a good career, Lawson. And, it was a big loss for me personally, I think. So, good job, Lawson.
On that same note, it wasn't going to be mine. But Simon Geschke, big loss for the Peloton, amazing guy, great career, close friend. But I was going to say Grace Brown, and I love this because at 32 years old, Olympic gold medalist time trials, world time trial champion, wins Liège this year, wins the Aussie time trial as well, and just goes, cool, I'm out. Mic drop. I'm just going to roll around the Belgie in Melbourne in my world champion kit and do the dirty docker. Love it. Last one is, who is the rider of the season? Who are we going to go for? Who's going to get in first? Is someone going to say Pogacar? Are we all just going to go agreeance on that?
I just want to give a shout out, not rider of the year, but I want to give a massive shout out to Mark Hershey, king of the .pro world. I mean, this guy basically has taken a salary and been told to go and ride junior races, and he's just okay with that. And he's been winning them left, right. And it's unbelievable how he makes those races look, how easy he makes them look. Those races you talked about, he won in Italy. It's just he's doing pog stuff in them. Super impressive.
I'm going to circle back around. It's going to sound like I'm having a bromance here, but Ben O'Connor, 2nd at the Worlds, 2nd at the Vuelta, 4th at the Giro, Tour of the Alps, 2nd in GC, 5th at Torino, 2nd at the UAE Tour, wins Murcia. That's an incredible season coming across to Jayco this year. You guys, next year, sorry, have picked up a gem there, and O'Connor's showing great form.
Okay, here we are, boys.
Finally, Pelo chart.
Yeah, been rolled by Tom, rolled by Mitch. Anyway, moving on from the Dirty Docker. Pelo chat this week. I just wanted to discuss quickly with you boys about the idea of eliminating the under 23 category. Now, this is not something that's been spoken about. There's no rumours that this is ever happening. But I was at
there
team
is
camp
now.
Sitting down. Well, there is now. I'm starting the rumour. Spread it. And I was sitting down talking with Matt White, the head director of our team, and just talking about scout and talent. How do you find riders and this and that? And he was thinking that a lot of teams are actually...
You should listen to the Chronicles episode 1.
True, I will. There you go. It's all there. I'll move on to the quiz. Now, So the way cycling is going is that for people out there who don't necessarily know, there is like an under 23 category. There's some races throughout the season. They normally have under 23 teams. And it's a bit of a scene before you make the step up to the World Tour. But these days, by the likes of Pogacar and many others, coming straight in at 19 from juniors into World Tour is pretty common. And these guys are coming in as juniors and they're straight away podium in Grand Tours, which is, I mean, not everyone's in the same boat, but it's happening more and more. So what a lot of teams are doing is that they're making a development team. So there's this not necessarily a need for the under 23s anymore because you've got juniors, which you got your proper restricted gears, which actually I've just found out that they've got rid of restricted gears just this year, which is crazy. And then you would go under 23, do your rite of passage, sign professional after 2 years, and then go into the World Tour. The thing is now is that World Tour guys, if you're under 23, you can actually return and race the World Championships, race Tour of L'avenir.
That shouldn't exist. I don't reckon you should be able to do that.
It shouldn't exist, but it does. So that even means it's like less important to even have an under 23 category because at the end of the day, it's just they're World Tour guys. Like a guy who had done the Vuelta went back and won the under 23 road race. Like, there's no way the exposure that someone who would have from racing in Australia doesn't make any sense at all. And then what you can do is if you have a development team that is not under 23, it's just open, you race in the 0.1 and the 0.2 races, and actually World Tour guys, like say, for example, I've had an injury or something and I want to come back, kind of like playing VFL before you go back and play an AFL. You literally have a few games with the lower level and then you step back up into the World Tour. Pretty much next year, there's only 2 teams that don't have development teams because it's so important to catch the talent early that it's too risky to not have your own development squad. So yeah, I don't know. It's always been a thing, the under 23, but I just think it's more and more becoming irrelevant and I don't think it's necessary.
So it's funny you bring this up because I actually had this exact same conversation the other day with a friend of mine. And the way I summed it up was like the under 23 race at the Worlds now is basically like a poor pro race, right? It's all pros, right? Except without some of the very best ones. So just get rid of it. The under 23 Worlds, 100%. Like going back to not being able to have pros there sort of makes no sense of it either, you know? I mean, so many guys are going straight from junior. I would revert the system to basically I think 96 or something like that. I think 96 was the first under 23 Worlds. It was basically you have amateur and pro. So you make everyone who's like, make the Conti level, whatever you want to call it, whether it's amateur or elite or whatever, you know, whatever term you want to give it. You basically eliminate the need to be under 23 because if you haven't turned pro at 18 as a junior, there should still be a window for you to race, right? So why is there an age restriction? Because if you're 24 now, right, and you've just got like started racing, like, what do you do? It's
yeah, like this Paul Double example that you used of, he's 28 years old. If he came in as an amateur and was winning on the amateur scene, and then he got picked up, but there is an amateur scene because, like you said, at the moment it's like age restricted scene, which then as soon as you fall into the 24-year-old category, you're not allowed to actually start cycling at 25. There's no chance.
There's so few races you can do, so you just take that barrier off. The only age restricted thing should be junior, and you have junior Worlds. You don't have an under 23 men's road race. You have like a elite one or amateur one, whatever you want to call it, and then you just open it up. You would end up giving more guys a shot at it, or because
that's a very good point. Yeah,
I think I like that theory much better. Is that
because I couldn't quite work it out. I said under 21 maybe, but that actually then puts an age limit on it again. Like this actually makes a lot more sense to do an amateur and a pro category post juniors. There's no under 23. It's like juniors, and then there's amateur, and then you can go into the World Tour. So yeah, that's quite it. I mean, done, sorted out. You moving into the UCI. Tweet that. All right, boys. All right, my segment was quite quick this today, but Tom's pretty much sold it for me. Well done. All right, boys. We're into the Pelo quiz.
the last quiz of the year, the Communique quiz.
Communique quiz. Thank you. Is it Harry? Harry wrote that in?
Is there Harry Downey? Is there a theme to this quiz, Turbo?
Yeah, well, I thought the last time I did the quiz, I actually did name the rider. And I start firing off stats, and then you eventually have to, it gets easier and easier, and then you have to name the rider.
Who am I?
To be honest, I thought, who am I? I think it worked out quite well. Everyone was happy with it. So I've done a couple here, and I've done 4 or 5 riders. Jeez. And if you guys are tying, then I'll do a bonus,
All right, let's do it. Just yell out when you know.
Yep, yell out when you know. All right, so rider number 1. Born the 22nd of March, 1985.
Okay.
Was under 23 world mountain bike champ. One of his nicknames is King in the North. Weighs 65 kilos. Has won Lombardia, Liège, and Dauphiné.
Did you say world mountain bike champ?
Mm-hmm. Under 23. He's only won 1 Grand Tour stage, which was the Vuelta. Individual stage.
Oh, you know who it is. It's, is he the DS now? He was in our team.
Currently still races.
Oh.
I think the next one might give it to you. He raced for Saxo, and do I have to give you the final clue, boys? He currently races for Israel Premier Tech.
Oh, Fuglsang?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Jesus, boys. I couldn't believe I had to give you all of that.
Didn't he win like COVID Lombardy or something?
It doesn't matter. He still won Lombardia. Jesus. Don't belittle his Lombardia victory. The Liège was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't good. That wasn't good. Anyway, Tom got that one. All right. This one here. You should get this one, Mitch. I'm glad Tom got Fuglsang, but Mitch, you should get this one. Anyway, born in the early 90s, under 23 champion of his country, was also national champion elite in the time trial of his country. He turned pro in 2012.
Happy.
He's got, there we go. Nice
Yes!
one. All right, 1 point each.
I saw when you struggled to say not Aussie champ. I was like, got to be an Aussie. Then
It was pretty
the thing that
bad.
gave it away for me
Obviously.
was 212 pro. I was like, I'm just taking a stab. It's got to be happy.
All right, this one's a bit older. Born in 1976, 6-time national time trial champion. Won
Fabian
2 stages.
Cancellara.
Nope. Won 2 stages of the Giro. 2008. Oh, you wanker. There we go. Sorry.
I was going to say, because you mentioned Pinotti before. Yeah.
I know, it's on my mind. I've got this lot of good stuff in here, Like I've got who he rode for. He rode for Pulte back in 98. Then Lamprey, Sonia Devaux, T-Mobile.
I should have never mentioned Pinotti before.
I shouldn't have, but that's the issue with me. All right, so we've got Tom on 2. Decider. Not really decider, but yeah. Okay. I've won 3 stages of the Vuelta. I am still in the Peloton. I've won a stage at the Herald Sun Tour.
Mike Woods.
Oh, fucking hell. Well
yes!
done. Well done. I didn't actually know that he rode for a Moravita.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
Woodsy.
All right.
Yes.
Well done. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Well, we'll have to do the decider then. I was born 9th of June 1993.
9th of June. All right, locked in? Yeah, good.
Locked in? Yep. Do you get it?
Do you know any other rider's birthday? Just out of interest. Like, if you ever come across a moment, you say, oh, yeah.
Durbo, you're born in March. It's always in the classics, wasn't it?
No, 9th April, but yeah, pretty close.
Oh.
But, close to a month. I won the KOM jersey at the Vuelta a España.
Clarkey.
No. I've won GC at Giro Toscana.
Born in
Tour
90.
de Lan.
Clarkey.
Tour de Lan, yeah, it's 93. Clark, he's just a fountain of youth. Anyway, Circuit della Sarthe, GC, Tour de Lane, Giro de Toscana, and I've been third in the Dauphiné. Now, he's the master of the top 10 in a Grand Tour, but you don't really know. He's there, and he sort of just gets 10th quite often. He's currently signed for FDJ.
Martin.
Yep.
Oh, Gil Martin.
Well done.
That was a
All right.
curveball.
Well, there you
We'll
go.
struggle to get
3-2. Tom won.
Southern, beers would be on me, Boxing Day test then.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
All right, boys. Well, it's been an amazing season. I've loved doing this with you guys. I hope everyone has enjoyed hearing our lovely dulcet tones on the microphone. And we'll be back next year. It's time for off-season. To have a few cold ones, relax, kick back, and plan for next year, boys. Any last notes before we sign out?
Just thanks for the year, boys. Looking forward to doing it next year. Like I said, we'll have YouTube, lots of new stuff, new sponsors, new merch, just all this new stuff. And just follow us. We said we get to a couple 100,000 followers next year. Then we can all just retire and be podcasters.
It's not about that, Durbos. It's about having fun. That's a good point. A really big thanks to Escape Collective because they got this thing rolling this year and it was awesome having them on board, nitpicking all their fun games and stuff. And I'm looking forward to doing some of those fantasy leagues with you guys next year. But of course, big thanks to MAAP that keep this steam train rolling. Southern, I'll see you back in Oz.
See you soon, mate. Yep.
Durbo, you coming to Melbourne?
I will, yeah, for sure. I'll be there for Cadell's race and a few other things. So I'll definitely hit you up over the off season. You should come out to Perth for the Nationals.
I'd like to, but just before that, enjoy the Girondo.
I will.
See you, boys.
That iconic music in this episode was composed by none other than the legend Pete Shelley. Cheers, mate.